Welcome, Lawn Care Legends, to the 14th edition of Lawn Care Skull Sessions with Benny and BJ. Uncle Benny, Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year, mate. And Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to everyone listening and watching. As you can see, we're on holidays. Woo! Even though we're fucking stuck here working.
Yeah, that's alright.
Yeah, hey, I usually don't wear threads like this.
Me neither. Check it out.
BJ looks kind of suave in his. My daughters don't think I look cool in this.
I thought I'd dad shirts straight away.
Yeah,
like it's happened.
Even don't have it buttoned up very far.
You really don't. That's a belly buttoner.
Yeah, man, I'm full busting it out. Bought it at Stratty yesterday. I've been at Stratty with some of the bros and the family.
I was going to say you look a couple of shades darker. You got a bit of sun.
Well, the sun was shining briefly. There's a lot of rain and wind in Brisbane.
It was a bit of an ugly weekend, wasn't it?
But that's typical. I don't get away often, but every time I do, the weather is fucked.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the family time though. So any plans for you for New Year's?
I think we're going to have a quiet one. We hosted Christmas Day for the first time, and then unfortunately COVID fucking cooked our Boxing Day. But what do? 'Tis the time. Yep. But no, I don't think we're doing much at all. What are you doing?
I believe there's a firework display out at Redcliffe.
Oh yeah, nice.
Not everyone will know where that is, but we're going to sort of try and take the kiddies out there. It's on early at like 7:30 as soon as it gets dark, so we're sort of hoping we can have a bit of a late arvo, bit of dinner on the beach, see the fireworks, and then try and keep the kids awake while we drive home.
So they go to bed.
See it, yeah. So that'd be great. And then pretty much once we get past the weekend, it's back into work.
I know. Didn't you go to work today?
I did go and help the boys today for a couple of hours. We just jumped on the snipper with the boys. I did get some catch pros out today. We've got some blades out. Have some pro shields to knock up. I've got a list somewhere. Got some new pro shields to knock up. We'll probably get them out tomorrow. Is the last shipping day before the long weekend, so it'd be good to get them out.
Some good feedback coming back. People are sending me messages like, yeah, check it out.
Yeah, we got some good feedback. We got some reviews going.
Sweet. Yeah, we got some new reviews.
I think they start from there. We might just get them out the way now.
Cool. So these are on the Apple. What is it? I don't do Apple.
This is the Apple Podcasts. Actually, I haven't even checked the Spotify because you can leave reviews now.
Yeah, just remember that, guys. You can now, and girls, you can now leave reviews at Spotify.
What we'll do is, I don't think we can operate that thing while we're live, but we'll get amongst that next week. So if anyone has left a review or you want to leave a review and Spotify is your platform, booyah! We'll shout that out next week.
Yeah. So this is from Duke79. Great listen every week, lads. Fill in the noise of music all the time. Always full of great info. Cheers, lads. Caddy.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Scott Moore, 1986.
That's my date. I'm 86.
I'm 84. I'm an old boy.
You old bastard.
Love tuning in each week and hearing these boys having a yarn full of knowledge and experience and guaranteed a few laughs each week. I heard rumours there's a sun-safe episode coming up soon. I live in the UK and would love a demonstration on how you sunscreen each other's back before a hot and hard day's work in Australia.
Woo! In the UK.
In the UK.
Oh, thanks
worldwide.
For listening. Sod in hell.
Yeah.
Bollocks.
I'll get some banana boat. I'll get a big one.
Actually, while we're on that, on the YouTube channel, I believe, what did you say his name was?
Scott Moore.
Scott, he must be full groupie, eh? Shout out to Scott Moore. That was one of my shout outs on the list from YouTube. Yeah. So thanks for listening, mate. Hey, maybe one day you can come to Australia and maybe sunscreen our backs. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Three-way.
Yeah, usually we do that with people that we know, but
Just jump in.
see how
Who
we
cares?
go.
Oh, we know him well enough. He's given us 5 stars.
Thank you for the 5 stars.
Thanks, brother. We got one more from Big Josh 320. Great work, boys. Love listening to the podcast while I mow my lawn. Thanks, brother. We love the feedback.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh.
All right. So, what are we going to be chatting about today, BJ?
Today, we're going to be hitting the old invoicing, paperwork, routines, and scheduling.
So all of the organising sort of back end of the business, right?
All the nitty gritty.
It's not like we've got enough to do.
Yeah. Get home and you think you're going to kick your boots off.
You have to do all this shit too.
Yeah.
All right. So, I like to think of myself as pretty damn organised, but I am pretty old school. How about you? Are you organised, or are you one of these dudes who's just like chasing your tail?
Look, to be honest, I'm a bit of both.
Yeah.
So my wife does most of the invoicing. When I say most of it, I say she does all of it.
Well, so my wife does all the physical invoicing as well. I just prepare all the information for her.
Yeah, that's what I do. But
what the fuck do we pay these? I was going to say the B word, but what do we pay our wives for?
No. But anyway, man,
I know what I pay mine for.
oh my!
I love you, Vicky.
Yeah, I love you, Lou. But anyway, she does basically everything that you need a brain for for computer wise. She takes care of all the invoicing. She's our invoicing program. Also, we can take photos of our receipts, so she does all that. She does everything on the back end. I give her the information, and she does the work. So.
Okay, so on your invoice program, does it not have like a? I mean, we don't do it. Well, I guess we would do it quarterly for the BAS, but does it not have? Does it just not log it and then total it and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it actually has like a function. You can take a photo with the camera.
Yeah.
That's on the invoicing app.
Yeah.
And it'll suck the information off the receipt.
Okay, cool. And what program is this?
So I'm using Rounded, which is a sneaky rip-off of Invoice to Go.
Oh, I thought you meant like Roundup.
No, Rounded.
Okay, cool. We're still using Invoice to Go. I think we're probably using that more out of convenience, than looking to. Look, I think it served us pretty well.
Yeah, well, that's why I jumped onto the other one, because Rounded, the price was so low, and what they offered was pretty much the same as Invoice to Go. Mm-hmm. And Invoice to Go, like, they were just jacking the price up and up and up.
Well, I know that's true. And I don't know, like I said, with Catch Pro and family and everything going on, I think we're probably still using it out of convenience.
That's
maybe we'll look into, but Greenscape Solutions is so small now that sometimes we're even working at a loss.
Well, I will say I got royally fucked when I bailed on Invoice to Go.
Okay.
Because I let my subscription lapse, and I had Rounded, but I didn't think they were going to block me from all of my customer information.
Okay.
So they literally locked me out of everything, and I had to pay this exorbitant fee to get back in. I was just lucky that I actually had a paper copy of probably about 80%.
Well, that's where I would probably... I mean, in terms of the scheduling and the routines and route density and, all of that sort of stuff... I'm pretty old school. I still write down some stuff, so I still got good copies. But there will be jobs that I've done, say, for like 5 years, where, like, I know where the job is.
Yeah.
I even know the street name.
Yeah.
It fucks me if I know what the street address is.
That's
the number of the house, and it's all in the invoice program.
Yeah.
I mean, look, something to note for everyone: have good hard copy records.
Yeah. Even if you have a spreadsheet in Excel on your computer,
absolutely,
as well as on your invoicing program, because that was a big kick in the balls. Like, to have to bring all that, like, I kind of felt like I let them down, like having to call them and be like, "Hey, I'm really sorry, we changed invoicing programs." And I felt like a bit of a a cheap prick too.
Like the time when I briefly went to work for someone, Shorey, great bloke. I don't think he listens. He's a local landscaper, but went to work for him. He hired me. I think it was maybe like second or third day. He asked me what my preferred name was, and I'm like, dude, my name's Ben. And like I think he was trying to come up with a clever way to like I don't know if he was like trying to figure out maybe if I had a nickname or something like, oh, do you have a mad work name that you want to be called? But I'm just like, nah, man, it's just Ben,
Benjamin.
So I did evolve into Benny Bobcat there.
Okay. Because
all I did was fucking
Benny
dig
Hoover.
shit. Yeah, Benny Hoover, yeah. Okay, so back on track. Let's touch a little bit more on invoicing. Now, there is going to be a lot of variables with all of this stuff, all your organising, paperwork, routines, scheduling, all of this stuff. There is a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
We are not going to be able to touch on every scenario because, people have all different size businesses.
Yeah.
But with your invoicing, if you're, like a 10 lawn a day person, I've heard quite a lot of these contractors now are sort of doing invoicing on site.
Yeah.
They might have a tablet or a phone or whatever the case may be, and they'll finish a job and they'll fire that invoice off. Have you ever been that type of guy?
Nah, not for me, man. I'd like to... I don't want to stay on site any longer than I have to be. I want to get the job done, get to my next job and just knock it all out, kick my boots off at the end of the day, give the information to my wife, and then...
Yeah. Fair enough. Like, I've never been that type of person either. Back in the day, and people think I'm super old, right? I'm not that fucking old. I've just been doing it since I was 16, okay?
Yeah.
But back in the day, before emailing...
I know where you're going.
I'm just saying is, when we used to write the invoices out, you would do that at the end of a job. Now, I can't remember, might have been like 4 or 5 years after I started, that we sort of phased that out. And if anyone had asked me, in the last 10 or 15 years, like, oh, can you write me out an invoice? I'd be like, fuck no.
You actually passed on a job to me just down the road here on White's Road, is it? No, it was one of the roads off of White's Road, and it was a big block, and he used to make me put a paper invoice in his mailbox when I was finished.
Wow. Well, I've been mowing a dentist surgery, great client, for like maybe 13 years. And for years and years, they used to send us a check. This is a full-on business, like a dental surgery.
I think I've done that with you.
Probably, yeah. And eventually, my wife was just like, "This is fucked," and it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
To say, look, we just need to do electronic transfer. This is fucking old school. And we're not going to bank $100 check every fortnight. So, be interesting to hear if anyone's still getting checks.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a form of payment, but I think it's a little outdated.
Yeah, it is.
So, in terms of invoicing, now your business is a little bit different these days.
It is.
You're doing much bigger sites. So, So the invoicing element is not huge.
I send maybe 7 or 8 invoices a week.
Okay, so would you just do that once a week?
No. So,
okay, cool. Yeah.
So, like, I'll say, for instance, my first 2 days of work are one side. So on the end of the second day,
you're like me. You're like, I want my money now.
Yeah, fucking oath, I want my money now.
Yeah.
So I'll do. For that one, we have 2 invoices. So one is for the grounds maintenance and one is for the cleaning. So I'll send, like, my wife will send both those out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't change, so I don't have to give her any details like that.
Just change the date, baby.
That's it. Rocket.
So that's the same. That's the same with us at our village. It is actually 2 invoices as well. One goes to the Body Corp. one goes to Stockland.
Yep.
And those invoices don't change. In fact, the body corporate payment is set up as a direct debit.
Okay.
So I don't even have to fucking send me invoice.
Sweet.
But we still do it religiously.
Yeah. Paper trail.
Absolutely, yeah. So, we're similar. Even when we were doing, the 10, 15 jobs per day, I always recorded and we invoiced every night.
Okay.
Now, not so much, especially now that I'm not working in the business. We have a full-time employee running the village, so it's just it's 2 invoices a week. And then Rusty goes out and does the road jobs, and the jobs are quite large. There's probably only 7 or 8 invoices a week.
Yeah.
Now we've sort of picked like a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I still do my recordings though.
Oh, okay. So
I still do my recordings and
enough.
scheduling every day because he needs to, even though the routines are virtually the same, I still lay everything out for him.
Yeah.
Add some notes, rada. So invoicing, obviously it's super important. If you're a business that's doing, even if you're doing 7 jobs a day,
yeah.
I think, would you say your advice is to just get that invoicing done every night?
Yeah. I reckon it takes it's fresh in your mind too.
Yep.
If you're not writing down the information every single job, I did a little bit of extra spraying here, did this here, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get to the end of the week. If you're waiting to the end of the week to do all your invoicing, number one, you're already, 5 days behind, your 7-day payment schedule or whatever you have set up.
That's really clever.
But then also, you might have forgotten.
It's not like anyone fucking pays attention to it.
No, that's true. Well, then you might have forgotten what you did at fucking Bertha's house.
Yeah.
She got you to spray her garden down or whatever. And you can forget shit like that. Especially, I remember when I was visiting 10, 15 houses a day, I'd forget shit even that day. It's
so I want to give everyone a quick rundown of my process that I've always done. Now, it is a little old school. And what I'll do is I'll run through my process of what I did.
Okay.
And then we'll run through some of the more updated ways that, and whatever works for you. Now, what I want to say is there is a few, no matter which way you decide to do this, your paperwork, I think there's a few fundamental elements that everyone really should apply. 100%. And being disciplined is one of them.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about discipline before.
Yeah.
Whether you choose this as a lifestyle or you want to go large, things like waking up in the morning and being prepared. This is very much the same.
Yeah.
I think you got to have a lot of discipline. That was something that I always had, even when we were starving for work, and it's going back a long time now. I might only have one job for the day. I always woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you were always up. Always up for a chat. Early bird.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where, if I didn't get up at that time, I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like I had been pulled down the rest of the day and that I'd wasted an opportunity.
Well,
I could be back at home by 10 o'clock thinking I'm a failure, what can I do? But at least, I was focused on work. I could get the job done. I could get home and be like, okay, where am I going to find my next line of work and what's my strategy for going forward? So a lot of this paperwork, back-end stuff is very much the same. And I think being disciplined and doing it daily is really going to help you out because I reckon even huge businesses can probably get this down to 15, 20 minutes per day.
And it's not just the actual physical act of doing it, but it's also the mental side of having it done. You don't have to fucking have that running through your head anymore. It's done. It's off your shoulders.
Yeah, and I'm also the type of person as well where it was very difficult for me to leave my office at night and go and relax. It was very difficult for me to switch off if I knew I fucked up and forgot something.
Yeah.
So I was always very... now, before I had the twins, I would get home, make a coffee, and I'd do all my paperwork. And so within half an hour to an hour after I'd gotten home, I was done and dusted.
Yeah.
Now it's completely different, and it has been different for a while. I would get home, do the kid thing, they would go to bed, and then I would do my work.
Yeah.
And that gave me enough time to sort of, well, it was quiet time. Like, I'm not allowed, still even to this day, I'm not allowed near my kids after we have dinner because I just fucking wind them up too much before they go to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, so my process, what I was always doing was have a good old diary.
Yep.
Now, lots of people now have diaries and calendars and stuff like that on their phone.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to make that transition because for some reason, even though the information is there, if I write something down mentally, I can remember it.
Yeah.
When I type something down, it just doesn't, for me, it doesn't function the same way.
No.
So, I would have a diary. Now, we've had our route density and our sort of job portfolio has been pretty good for a long time.
Yeah.
So the schedules don't really change that much. There might be a few differentials, here and there, and sliding a job in here, and rada. But essentially, I'd have all my work planned out Monday to Friday. When we were doing tons of road jobs and hitting all the different suburbs and streets, every time a job got done, just got a tick.
Yep.
Simple tick. Every day when I got home, I would then re-record that work just in a separate book. You would have the date, Monday, the fucking whatever. I would list every job, the price, I would total it, and then get the GST portion. And I would do that every single day.
Yep.
On the same day, I would have a separate book, and I would write out if we got paid for a job in cash, that job wouldn't get recorded again. It's just fucking done and dusted. I've been paid. I don't need to worry about it. If we needed to issue an invoice, I would record it with that date, with the amount.
Yep.
If we did a job that is a cash job that we didn't get paid for, it would still be recorded. And then every night my wife would grab the invoice book. I've always made it a red book.
Yep.
And it's funny, I've got records. We've got like 10 red books. Every night my wife would get that book. She would send the invoice and write the invoice number next to it.
Yep.
And every day we check the bank accounts. When we see those payments come in, or if we receive a remittance, we use a simple highlighter and we just highlight that, and we don't fucking worry about it again.
Yep.
So that's what we do. And it's made it very, very easy for me.
Yep.
Even though you physically are writing, and that would be considered old school, it allows me to function and just know, okay, I fucking got everything.
Yeah.
So what's your system? I just wanted to give everyone a rundown of what I do.
That's cool.
Because and then on top of that, every week, each of those days gets totaled. You've got your GST portion, and then all your expenses.
Yeah.
Physically, so all your fuel, materials, rada. Now, wages and insurances and stuff like that do not get recorded at that time, because they're all monthly payments that we can pull off statements at your quarterly BAS periods.
Yeah.
But that's what we do.
Nice.
So
you record all your fuel and everything on those handwritten things, and then you do your BAS from that.
Pretty much. So
Okay.
this is even more old school. So when I don't really have to do it with fuel because we have fuel accounts.
Oh, okay.
So we
Nice.
we can get monthly statements.
Yep.
But occasionally, with Rusty or whatever, sometimes you're flicking him 50 or 100, or, he needs fuel and he doesn't have the card or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I get those receipts, I have a little pencil case in my car. Every business receipt that I get goes in there. And every Friday I get it out and I record everything. So if I've been to Bunno's and I've bought fucking whatever. If I've been to a produce and I've bought Roundup, whatever the case may be, I grab those receipts out and I record, materials. If I bought tools, I'll record that.
Yep.
If there was repairs, I'll record that. And then that way, what I can do is when I get my GST component, I can take off all my deductions.
Okay.
And at the end of every month, I then group all of that. And then when it comes to bass time, my bass only takes me 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Little bit more difficult now with Catch Pro, considering we're buying $50,000 worth of product at a time.
Yeah.
But I apply all of the same rules to that.
Yeah.
So the workload is, it's two businesses, so it's a bigger workload. But that's what I do. What's your process and how do you guys tip?
So essentially I started off very similar to yours because, like I said in a few episodes, I actually came and saw you before I ever started a business and asked you about how you did your thing. So we changed it a little bit. We still wrote everything down, highlighted when everyone was paid, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But we very quickly changed the process because I'd noticed that the receipts would lose their color very quickly in my wallet, so I would just shove them in there. I'd have like 7-inch wallet.
Mate, you wouldn't even want to look in that far. That's why I record it.
Yeah. So what I do now,
Yep.
well, actually, what we did before, this is the old process that we've had for a long time. So we were using Rounded, and we would just use that as our invoicing program. So I'd get home, give my wife the information from the day. She'd send the invoices and that would be that taken care of. And when we'd get a remittance or, it's automatic. When the payment comes through, she can just click it off and, we don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
When I was still doing a lot of streets, I was using Diary and I would do the same, just tick and flick, whatever. When we'd completed the job, write down if there was any extras.
That's it. You got to record that shit.
Yeah, you got to record it. And the way we did our receipts was a little bit different, actually a lot different. So if I got a receipt, I would take a photo, I'd send it to my, so we had a separate account. It was called, Bearded Lawnsman Receipts, because emails are free. In the subject, you put fuel with the date, not the date, so the month. And then when you go to do your bass, you can just simply write in the subject in your email that you're looking for fuel and that month, and it'd come up with all of the emails with all the photos, and you just do it off that.
Yeah, beauty.
But now our invoicing program has actually come to the party, and now they have like a system where you can take a photo of the receipt. It takes the information off of the receipt, and you basically just punch in what it is and it saves it. And now basically all you have to do when our bass comes around is take the figures off of our invoicing program.
Yeah, excellent.
So we don't do a lot on paper at all anymore. I did try and do all my scheduling on Google Calendar, and it was a fucking failure. It was so bad because, I do so many large sites now. Everything's in routine. So it's like, I'm doing 2 days at one site. So I'd put it in, and then for some reason I was getting these alerts on the wrong days. I'm like,
so
this up somewhere.
So, just a quick sidebar with Catch Pro. Obviously, a lot of this stuff was new to me.
Yeah.
And Josh, when he was with us, still go fuck yourself. He was very organized.
Yeah.
And everything was a fucking spreadsheet. And he would send me these fucking spreadsheets, and I'd be looking at this shit, and it had tasks for Ben, new ideas to complete. Like if we had new product ideas, so then you would have new product ideas, then you would have urgent, not urgent. Let's get to it one day. It was very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Now, with Catch Pro, I actually learnt to adapt to some of those programs, and it wasn't too bad. It's different. Like we've got dealer pricing sheets, we've got retail sheets, we've got all of that other stuff, And obviously that is way too much information to be handwriting.
Yeah.
Even though, let's say we've got back orders, Cash Pro units. We've got a website. You can click on unfulfilled orders and you can just go through and look at every single... So if I've got to build 10 catches, I can just look at it and I know what I've got to build.
Okay.
But even still, I grab a piece of paper and I write down the order number and what the catcher is for.
Yeah.
And then I keep that separate. So, like, it's just the way that I function.
Yeah.
And so, you know, whereas someone else who is maybe a little bit more updated, they would just work off the website. But even, like, once I got... Because you can't mark off the order until the shipping's booked in.
Oh.
So, you know, with all the back orders that we get... I would lose myself very quickly with fucking what's been built, what's been booked in for shipping, what hasn't, whereas I would have a separate piece of paper with a simple tick saying, okay, that's fucking built. And then once I write the order number on and the shipping label goes on, then it gets fully marked off.
Yeah, nice.
And it doesn't get fulfilled on the website until... literally when the couriers come.
Yeah, sweet.
So, whereas you can imagine if it was being fulfilled before that, people would be getting the wrong catches and all sorts of shit would be happening.
Yeah.
Just a little insight into Cash Pro there.
It's incredible what you've done. Like you're... This is the headquarters right here. Like, you fucking done an amazing job.
Just a quick sidebar. Did you undo a few buttons after I told you I did mine?
No.
Okay, cool.
I did one up, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my tits fell out earlier, so I thought I'd...
Oh, fucking love you for that, eh? That's fucking golden.
See my nipple ring. Nah.
Should we get nipple rings?
And then link them together.
I bet you Nelly would fucking rip it off if I had one. I reckon.
Archie would probably hang off it.
You'd be dead. Everyone on social media, don't forget to check out his son. How old is he? 2?
Not even 2 yet.
Looks like he's 4.
Dude.
And he's a good looking kid too.
Did you see he's like swagger?
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm like, fuck, it's crazy. Like he's getting big.
Do you post him much on, say, IG or?
Every now and again I'll
try to
post
get
him
me
up in the
girls amongst
story.
it.
Yeah. I don't know. He's going to be a big part of... I know, like, I've tried to involve all my kids. It's a bit hard with Ellie, like, but, like, Chloe's like, fuck outdoors, eh? I'm like, come on, man. Come and help me. She's like, no thanks, I'm playing with my beauty products. So I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So hopefully Archer's a grub and he likes to get filthy and get underneath the mower and help me scrape decks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's been tons. I know this is a sidebar at the moment, but...
that's what we're all about.
Yeah, it's great watching the kids. Like I see it on social media, you know, kids jumping on mowers, and then it's funny, you get all the Karens who are like, oh, you irresponsible parent. You're like, man, my kid is safer on my mower. Obviously the blades are off.
I'd be more worried about you fucking kids inside on social media getting worked on by pedos.
I had an argument with someone about one of the girls riding the mowers. I honestly reckon they've got a higher chance of being injured rollerblading down my driveway or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Is that the same guy that, because I came in to defend you, he attacked me on social media, built 2 fake profiles and was abusing me behind the scenes?
Oh, was his name Brent?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. I get abused a fair bit. And sometimes we get over it, sometimes we don't. So, okay, cool. So, you know, like, so that they're your options. Obviously, you can do all of this stuff on spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Be interesting to know how many people. I know that I've watched, like, copying and pasting is like, if we're just talking about scheduling now.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be like, okay, last Monday, or say, most things are done on a fortnightly schedule. So you can be like, okay, what did I do 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
You can just like, fuck yeah, copy that, paste that. That's great.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously that's something that can be done. I think probably what we're trying to emphasize more is the regularity of everything that you're doing.
Yep, stay on top of it.
Like, I know for me, I could almost pre-fill my diary on a monthly basis because the routines stay pretty well the same.
Yeah.
And then that way, if you have any variables or if you have any breakdowns, at least you can be like, okay, let's say your mower broke down and it was a solid one. You can go forward and be like, okay, we're not going to have the mower here. We're going to have to do this job here, and you're at least you're organised to the point where you can change that.
That's it. Some of the other options of payment too, they kind of sketch me out a little bit. You know how I've seen a lot of people say they've got the new Square readers, and they take credit card payments on site. Now, with a lot of my customers, they weren't home when I would service their property, so. I don't know I think it's Stagger that takes hard copies of people's credit cards.
Shout out to Stagsy, by the way.
And then he will charge their credit card with their information. So, I don't know. I've never even looked into that sort of stuff. Like, you'd probably have a bit of that sort of stuff in Catch Pro.
So, with Catch Pro, we can't take payment over the phone yet.
Okay.
And we can't take payment on site. Now, I absolutely hate it when people ask to pick up goods, only because we are running out of a house. Sometimes, if you're here on the weekend, there's fucking children everywhere. If you come during the week, my dog will bark its head off.
Yeah.
And then not only that, we're because I'm working all the time, but my wife has parts of the day that she dedicates to Catch Pro.
Yeah.
And she can't be on call to take a credit card payment at, whatever time. So that's the reason why we don't do that. I think these days I'd probably be open to some of that in Greenscape Solutions if that was my 100% full-time business.
Yeah.
But no, I never did the FPOS machine thing.
I carried one for 2 years. And just paid the fees on it, so I lost money on it.
Yeah,
I never used it once.
I'd probably be open to having one here on site, but really, we prefer the online sales to just go through the website because that's where you can pull all your reports from.
Yeah, well, that's your trick.
So if you're doing like $100,000 a month in sales, you don't really want that information recorded everywhere.
Yeah.
We can go straight into Shopify and we can get a monthly or quarterly report.
Yeah, nice.
And that sort of, that works for us.
Yeah.
But there's, I've heard of lots and lots of contractors that set up direct debits. Now,
yeah,
I mentioned before earlier in the episode that our biggest client is set up on a direct debit.
Yeah.
And I love that. But I am totally against setting up direct debits for regular clients. If you're going to mow something 26 times a year, which is what you really should be aiming for, I wouldn't be able to handle it. No. Just because if you're crook, if it rains, if it doesn't need doing, whatever the case is, I don't want to owe anyone nothing.
No, that's it. I always would rather. So my whole wife, sometimes when people owe us money, she's like, oh, I wish they'd pay. I'm like, oh, I'd rather someone owe me than me owe them. And then she's like, I'd rather have the fucking money in my account.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I kind of get you, but it's kind of nice being owed money. Like, that feeling is a nice feeling.
Yeah, so we would always judge, this is going back years ago as well, but, when we were really balling with Greenscapes, on any given day, we were probably owed, like, let's say, up to $10,000.
Yeah.
And we didn't always judge our success on what we had in the account. It was what we were owed.
Yeah.
Because every week you're turning over $5,000 or whatever. So I always used to, every time, it wouldn't happen that often, but every time that money owed got down to like, say, $4,000 or $5,000, I would always be like, oh shit, are we doing everything right?
Did I forget a job?
So, that was just a little funny thing. But the direct debit, setup. Look, I don't recommend it. We're on this show. We're pretty big at saying like there is no right or wrong way, but I don't know that I'm feeling that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably okay. So I'm going to say I personally wouldn't recommend it because of that exact thing. Like if you can't get there,
don't talk quieter.
I'm going to say one of my biggest villages, I'm now able to service their backyards and front gardens. It's always just been the common areas.
Yeah.
And now there is going to be a direct debit thing set up. So I'm actually breaking my own rules. And yeah, it looks like I'm going to be on the direct debit side of things. But these are very small amounts of money. So these are like little $30 courtyards, things like that. So it's not like a $120 job where someone's getting $120 taken out of their account.
Yeah.
It's like $30. It's not even a slab of piss these days, so...
Yeah, okay.
Still a little bit daunting, but a few people have already said to me, I really don't like the idea of direct debit. Can we do cash? I'm like...
Well, look, even as a client, let's say I had a mower man, which I hope to fuck never happens, right?
I'll look after you.
Yeah, no. But anyway... Let's say I've got a mower man, and he says to me, okay, you have to set up a direct debit or I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I would feel super uncomfortable. Now, don't you know someone who makes everyone prepay?
Yeah. There's a dude down in Redlands,
Man, that
Daniel.
is gnarly. I'm not necessarily,
that's as bad
I can't get with it.
No, I can't either. Like, I commend what he's done because he's covering his ass. Like, he's covering all his
Man,
costs.
I tell you what, he must have some coin behind him.
But, yeah.
Because, I reckon that 90% of people would say, nah, fuck off.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't advise people to do it as customers. Like,
just think that is the opposite to what we get hit up at Catch Pro.
Yeah.
At Catch Pro, dealers and businesses ring up and like, can we have a 30-day account? And I'd love to say yes.
Yeah.
But because no one knows how to fucking pay a bill, it ain't happening.
Yeah, fair enough.
But like, so I have to say, and we do make them prepay.
Yeah.
Pay the invoice and then we'll ship the product.
That's fair enough, man. It's not a little bit of money.
But for a service, if you get a plumber in or if you get whatever it is, it's very rarely that they'll say, okay, this job is, $150, give it here.
Yeah. I could understand maybe if you had a business where
if you were doing big landscape jobs.
Yeah, and you had like a booking fee and things like that, or a materials fee.
Yeah. So we've done that in the past. If we've done like say a $20,000 landscaping job, which we did jobs like that briefly for a while.
Yeah.
Before we got really hard into maintenance. We'd ask for 10%.
Yeah. I've heard people asking for up to 50 on materials anyway, not on the actual job, but on the materials.
Depends how big the business is. If you've got, 5 or 6 workers that get paid weekly.
Yeah.
And most of your invoices are on a 14-day turnaround and you're not going to be accepting any other funds during the week.
Yeah. And
you got your boys, on a landscaping job for 2 weeks, then that helps a lot for cash flow.
Yeah, it does.
Especially if you don't have accounts for the materials. Like, if you go to a landscape yard and you got to spend $1,500 on mulch and you don't have an account, you need to physically pay for it. And then all of a sudden you need to pay $3,000 or $4,000 out in wages.
Yep.
I think that's when that stuff applies.
Yeah.
But I think when you're dealing with $70 payments, I know it would be a mindfuck for me collecting all this money without doing the work yet.
In saying that too, like if it fucking works for you, do it. Like if that's what works
so
for you.
I'm not like I would. I just think
he's the only one I've heard of prepay. That's So I don't know. Write in and let us know if you get your customers to prepay their service before you even turn up. Let us know. It's kind of interesting.
Look. I think it's I think that is smarter than a direct debit system.
Yeah.
The prepay. But I just don't know how you actually coordinate it, because a lot of the time it's difficult enough trying to get the client to understand, hey, I'm going to come every 14 days.
Yeah.
All right? I'm going to come and I'm going to mow it every 14 days. It's a lot harder to say, I'm going to come every 14 days, but I'm not actually going to fucking do anything unless you pay me first.
Yeah.
At least if you've been there, done the work, hey, motherfucker, I've paid.
Yeah.
I've done the job. Hook us up. Yeah, so now quickly, while we're on the topic of jobs and payments, how many services do you do for a non-paying client before you say, go fuck yourself?
Depends on the client.
Absolutely.
And it depends
Let's
on...
talk about a $70 mow.
Okay, so a $70 mow.
Let's talk about a $70 mow.
A fortnightly job?
Fortnightly job.
Okay, so a fortnightly job. Let's send the invoice. I got 7 days on the invoice. As soon as 7 days is up, I start sending reminders. I'd probably do the second service.
I know I would.
And then if I still hadn't repaid, like got that money for the first service after probably like 2 or 3 days after the second service, then I would start to harass them and say, look, I can't look after you if you're not
Oh,
going to
no,
look after me.
no, that's...
So
don't worry about harassing them, because that, with me, starts pretty quickly. But how many services do you get to where you're like, man, I'm not doing nothing else until I get my
probably
money?
2.
Yeah,
I'm probably up
3.
to the second or third, yeah.
I'm probably 3. What do you do when you do the third service and they pay one invoice?
I hope to God that they don't think that they've just paid the most recent and the other ones were freebies or something.
Yeah, that's what
Now,
I've got to be honest, I'm a shocker. I led people, and it was going back to like what's owed to you. If I kept accumulating that, then I felt like I was in a good spot. Now, a lot of business people out there would tell you that's wrong, because the more funds you can keep, you're gaining interest on all that stuff, the more that other person is keeping them, the more that they're profiting. It's not once that job has been done, that money is no longer theirs, but they're getting interest off it by holding those funds.
That's it.
Now, it's probably a scungy way of looking at it, but a lot of this shit makes sense in the bigger scheme of things.
Yeah.
It's like with us, with Cash Pro now that we're dealing with such large amounts of money, Equipment Defender, for example, they say it's a 30-day account, but I just pay whenever the fuck I want, right? The more money that I keep and accumulate is better for me, rather than, if it's a $20,000 or $30,000 bill, if I pay, $10,000 a week, it's a lot worse for me. I'm better off paying 2 lumps of 20 or whatever. And if you're doing that over a lot,
30, 40 grand gaining interest in your account is a lot better than giving it away.
Absolutely.
And not getting that interest. I know interest rates are pretty shit at the moment for people saving, but it all adds up eventually, especially when you're dealing with such large numbers.
Yeah.
I do get you though. Like I would rather, like I said before, have someone owe me than me owe them. And I do like to see those numbers clicking over of what people owe me.
Yeah.
When I first started though, it was pretty, you got to get paid. Like I wasn't getting this large number at the end of the week just sitting there. Like I was, as I was growing, I did relax as I started to grow.
Yeah.
But at the start I was like, fuck, pay me.
Well, that's one of my biggest, we would have people that would say, no, I think I paid this. And, back when we were starving, like I would always say, like, I can't afford to be wrong.
Yeah.
Like I can't afford to be wrong about this because
Yeah.
I really need this.
Yeah. That's why invoice numbers are so important, to have that shit on point so you can go back to them and say, fucking no way.
Well,
because we've had that with big customers. We've had people dispute that we've been paid for like a $2,000 invoice. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. The $2,000 isn't with me, so it must be with you.
And that was one of the biggest things as well, you know, when we go back to what I was saying about me using a highlighter.
Yeah.
I ain't highlighting anything unless I've seen or got the money. So, you know, that doesn't mean anything to anyone else. You can't go there and say, hey, I don't have this highlighted. So, you know, but at the same time, it was like, look, there is no record of payment.
Yeah.
I haven't missed this. And that was my way of making sure.
Yeah. And making sure that your customers, if they are going to do like a transfer, that they put a reference number. Like, make sure they put a fucking reference number.
Oh, man.
Because they can
I've got like full-on body corps, like, you know, like proper businesses that are turning over like hundreds of millions a year.
Like 50-unit complexes that can't put a fucking invoice
They
number.
can't even give me a fucking remittance or anything proper. Like, you know what I mean? So,
and it's not always the actual like place that you're servicing. It's the people who look after their money.
That's right.
Like the actual body corporate services are just like, fuck it, we'll pay you when we want to.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we've been sidebarring quite a bit, but that's cool. Can you talk to me about some of the software programs that are out there for scheduling and invoicing? Is that's what most of them do? Scheduling and
invoicing. So the thing that I found was there was no in the middle. So there was no real scheduling except for, you know, you've got your two main ones, I think, are Jobber and ServiceMate for the scheduling and invoicing.
Can I just say first, do you use any scheduling apps?
No.
Just invoicing?
Just invoicing.
Okay, cool. So we'll just highlight that. I also don't use any scheduling apps. But we can get back onto it now.
Yeah.
Just wanted to let everyone know that we don't use them, but there are services out there, right?
There's so many. But invoicing, there's even more. Like like I just wrote down like the top 10. Like I wrote down my one, Rounded, Invoice to Go.
That's mine.
Oh, your one. MYOB. I think that's like a full business package. I think like a lot of people, but I've been hearing less and less about that.
Well, I think
time's gone on.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think MYOB is like that does everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like does all your accounting and shit.
Yeah. So Thrive, FreshBooks, Zoho, Invoices, Core, Wave, Xero, and
I think Xero is quite popular.
Xero is quite popular. Invoice to Go, I've seen a fair few. QuickBooks. But the one thing that I noticed when I was actually looking at each individual thing was you need to check what device you're doing most of your work on, because some of them are really good on the computer, but their mobile app is quite limited. We basically do everything, all of our work on mobile phones.
Well,
so I know you're a bit different.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't do any banking on my phone.
Yep.
I'm an Apple user. I do some emailing on the fly.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've never done any scheduling on my phone. Like I don't, write down notes or set alarms or do anything like that.
Yeah.
I virtually don't do any online shopping either.
Yeah.
Now my wife, she will do most things from her device, which is an Apple phone as well. I'm a lot more, I think, I just prefer to have my computer.
Yeah.
When I'm doing, I get 50 emails a day. So when I'm responding to all of these people, it's much easier to have a bigger screen. I can see everything there. I can see all my replies. When I'm dealing with a mobile phone, it's, everything is downsized. And like, have I replied to this one? Have I, what have I done here? Also, a lot of the times when I'm replying to emails or doing certain things, I have to open up new windows.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to go to my own website. Sometimes I have to go to Shopify. Sometimes I have to go to YouTube, copying and pasting links.
Yep.
I find all that stuff much easier to do on a desktop or a laptop.
Yep.
Haven't been one to do it necessarily from my phone, but these days, even though I wouldn't say that there's I would love to know the percentage of age groups and demos.
Well, we're not too far apart. I do pretty much everything from my phone. I do the podcast from my phone.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
guess what Santa brought me? A new laptop.
Woohoo!
So
Santa Claus, you rock!
You fucking love you, big bearded fuck.
So on the flip side to that, all of my social media is done from my device. I find it very difficult to do it on a laptop.
Okay.
Don't know. I think it's because when I first got Facebook, I got it on my phone. That's what I'm used to.
What about porn?
Always from. Oh, we're not. Okay, yeah. No,
definitely tell me. How is it on a laptop?
It's good, eh?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Especially when you plug it into the TV.
Whoa, I didn't even think of that.
Ideas,
man.
So we won't talk much more about that.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so just a quick piggyback sidebar. A mate of mine, Tyson Wilson from Executive Property Maintenance Services.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound suave?
It does.
He's a lawn mowing contractor, a local contractor in Brisbane.
Yep.
He has 16 employees, so that's a pretty big operation, right, for a small business. He has been developing his own software scheduling programs and apps because he hasn't found anything that clicks with him in his business.
Very nice.
So that's all I can tell you about it now. He is a mate of mine, so we might do something with Catch Pro.
Ooh.
Offer whether it's a discount code or maybe I don't know how much I want to get involved, but if it's the goods, we'll get amongst it. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, sweet.
I'd love to see what he's developed. He spent about 150 grand on this thing, making it so that contractors like us can be like, fuck yeah, I got this crew's going to do that. Now, what he also does is he has like 8 crews, and which is a lot, right?
That's a fair few.
8 2-man crews. They've all got a colour. One's the blue team, one's the red team, one's the yellow team.
Yeah, nice.
And that's how he's able to function. He's like, instead of saying like, fucking Willie and Ben have this to do.
Yeah. It's
like the fucking blue team's going to hit, whatever suburb, they're going to do this amount of jobs and they earn this amount, rah. So, goes to show that the organising,
that's it.
No matter how simple it is, it really applies.
Yeah. And I'm sure that he's got it down to a T too, to have that many people on the go. I'm sure that he's on the ball, and if he does bring out this app soon, it'll be pretty good.
I'm really looking forward to it.
That's a lot of time to put into it, a lot of money to put into it, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, so now something that is a little bit daunting while we're here, the banking side of things, that is just like your invoicing and your scheduling. Like if you're receiving payments or collecting payments in any way, shape or form, is this something that you do daily?
Yeah.
Let's say you're a 15 lawn day person.
Yeah.
Cash collected, invoices sent, invoices paid.
Yeah.
If you do these things daily, you're gonna be staying on top of things, right?
Yeah. That's it. It's all about getting in the routine of being disciplined. Routine of discipline. Yeah. So it's just, you got to get it done, and if you don't get it done, it'll hang over your head until you do it. It's just one of those things that it does suck sometimes. Like, it really does suck. You've had like a 10-hour day on the tools, you get home, you spend 15 minutes a day knocking through your paperwork, and everything else should run smoothly afterwards.
So I'm the opposite. Regardless of how many hours I did, I literally would not be able to like have a nice meal or concentrate on anything relaxing until I knew that I had sorted that out.
Yeah.
So obviously different people, different ways of doing things.
Yep.
I think no matter who you are, your scheduling, your invoicing and your banking You should do this daily.
Yeah.
You can round it down to like 15 minutes, and you're going to be way more organized. It's the same fundamentals as like if you've got a chainsawing job to do, rather than rocking up on site and pulling your chainsaw out that hasn't been out for a month and realizing like, oh, the fucking chain's blunt, I got no bar lube or whatever. The day before or whatever day, you're better off just pulling the chainsaw out, running it over with the compressor, seeing how sharp it is, making sure you've got lube, all of these things, so that when you rock up to that job, you're ready to roll. Now, I used to be one of these dudes who, on a Monday morning, rock up to the first job, completely unorganized, had fuck all snipper cord in me job in my bipper dipper, run out of cord on the first job, and then you're like, fuck. Next job, run out of fuel. It wasn't until I had children, but then that's when, I would, at the end of every day, I would check to see how much cord I had, and I would make sure I had 2-stroke fuel mixed up, and I would a lot of the times fuel up my machines, and I would do all of these things so that when I stepped in my rig, I was literally ready to roll. Yeah,
that's what I do as well. If I have to get fuel, I'll normally stop on the way home and get fuel, because it's easier to stop on the way home than get up 20 minutes earlier and rock out and go and get fuel. Lots of my jobs I have start times, so I'll be there at 6:30 to start for 7, or 6:45 to start for 7, something like that. So I don't want to get up at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning just so I get fuel and I can make sure all this shit's ready. So I try and get it all done in the afternoon, so I can just wake up, make a coffee, put my clothes on, jump in the car, pop some tunes on, and have a nice cruise to work, and just don't have to worry about things.
Yeah, sure. Now, something else that we'll quickly touch on is your GST tax, BAS component.
Yeah.
Now, we won't talk that much about figures. We're just going to go over the process. It's another one of those things where if you do this regularly, it becomes a super easy job. So if you're calculating, now I'm not saying that you have to put funds away, and the payment side of things is up to you.
Yeah.
But if you're organised and you at least know what the figures are, it's going to make it a lot easier, so that when you get that tax bill, you're not like past Ben, where you're like, whoa, where am I getting this 20 grand from?
And that's where a good invoicing program will come in handy, because ours tells us every day, this is how much you owe.
Yeah, and now I know, say my mate Tyson from EPMS, for example. Now, it can be really difficult when you're a small business to be pulling out your GST components.
Yeah.
If you haven't been paid them yet, it can be really difficult, because that is your cash flow.
Yeah.
Now, they're obviously so big and they've got such a big pool of money that they can do that.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to Tyson's wife, who obviously does a lot of this back end stuff, every week she subtracts the GST component. Let's say, in their case, it's friggin', probably quite high, probably $5,000 or whatever. She will pull that and put that in a separate account.
Yeah.
And then this will pool. So now I don't really do that necessarily with Catch Pro. We're getting to the stage where we're able to do it.
Yeah.
And I've been in the small mowing environment where you're trying to build, and it's a little bit daunting, but if you at least stay on top of the records, you're aware of it. There's nothing worse than really being slapped with that bill and being like, fuck.
Yeah, fuck.
And
it's so bad.
These days, with all the spam phone calls, like, I get them.
I get them too.
They'll be like, this is the tax office. You are going to jail.
Yeah. That escalated quickly. It's like, fuck.
So just wanted to touch on that briefly, because it is something very important. Also, all your deductions, it's really important to stay on top of them, because you can benefit in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
So, when you have a full-time job and when you work for someone, which I've never really done, a lot of this shit is done for you. You don't have to worry about it. You just get your paycheck and you worry about your life. When you're in a small business environment or a big business environment, you need to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of your success comes down to these fundamental things that we're talking about.
It's the same as every part of your business. The fundamentals will carry your business.
I just realised I've had fuck all water during this episode.
Oh,
how about you?
No, I've had a little bit here, a little bit there. I've got fucking 15 drinks, so...
I noticed that that mug's pretty damn full, eh?
Oh, it is still full. I've been drinking out of this. I'll drink out of everything. I'll finish it all by the time we're finished. That's a lie.
So,
you were talking about... sorry, dude. You were talking about deductions and things. So, I'm not sure if I've passed on this information on the podcast earlier, but Robert Shearer's wife, Donna, has volunteered to come on. She actually looks after over 100 gyms franchises. So she does the books for all those. So I'm sure she could shed some fucking good info on deductions and all that sort of stuff as well.
So she's obviously an accountant.
Yeah.
And does she only do gyms, guys?
Yeah, I think that's her primary. No,
but she's open to doing anyone. I like women that are open to doing anyone. Well, we can find out, and if she has an awesome service that specialises in say lawn mowing.
Well, she's very good at what she does. She's got over 100 on the books now, so that's a lot of work. Fucking, that's a lot of paperwork.
I mean, look, for me, like I obviously have accountants.
Yeah.
But by the time they do anything, I've already done all the work. I'm just simply presenting the information.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I do things.
That's the same as
I would never be able to. Like I have it recommended to me all the time. It's like, I know, you're really busy, Ben. You need to palm that off to someone else. For me, I just... It's another one of those things where I feel like I need to be in control and I need to know that certain... as it is, we've now hired a media company to do our social media and website and stuff.
Was that TBL Media?
No, but like on a serious note, it's been really hard for me to delegate that to someone else. Now I still do the regular posting, and I'm obviously still doing all the comments and stuff. But generating the business ads and everything is something that I feel like I still wanted to be controlling. But I'm not an expert in that stuff. Nah. It's not best for Catch Pro.
Yeah.
So whatever sort of person you are, you sort of need to be able to be honest with yourself and be like, okay, I'm not good at this and I'm not that interested in it. I can delegate that to someone else.
And you will save money in the long run. Like if you're missing out on so many deductions and all this sort of shit, like trying to do your tax yourself, and we saved a fortune. So this past tax quarter, whatever, our tax accountant actually got stuck in one of the hotspots, so we actually did our tax ourselves, and because we know how good he is, we actually just paid the money to go and see him so he could check over it. And fuck me, we were paying too much. Like a lot too much. Like not a smidge. Like it was a fair bit of money we saved. So the $250 that we spent going to see him saved us a fortune. So,
absolutely.
If it's not your strength, it's not your strength. Like no one's going to trip on that. I'm not knowledgeable in business. That's why my wife does all that stuff. She's got the goods there.
I mean, I'm a high school dropout. Let's talk about that quickly. Like, I'm a high school dropout now. I'm not one of those typical dummies that couldn't learn or whatever. I just wasn't very interested in learning at school. A lot of the reasons why I do things the old school way is because, like it's not like when I left school, we were doing work on computers and spreadsheets and all of that stuff was coming in. But it wasn't, even if someone was trying to teach me back then, I can imagine I'd be like, fuck this. So, it's not like I'm a super smart person or a dumb person either.
No.
But if you can be organised and you know your strengths and you've got discipline, you can excel at anything.
That's it, and it's all down to your discipline, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I first started and I came and had a chat to you and I saw your books, I was like, fuck. And I was like, well, you got to come and have a look because I'm lost.
Yeah.
So I knew my strengths. I knew that I could work for 12 hours and destroy myself and get up and do it again over and over and over again. But when it came to the paperwork side of things, I was like, eee.
Yeah, well, and, I think because I always had more aspirations to, even when, and I've talked about this in past episodes, even when I accumulated my first contract, I was like, all right, I could be content. And that lasted for 3 months. And then I was like, no, I want another one. So I'd spend a lot of time in the office researching. And then the more I did that, the more all of this stuff kind of became a little bit more natural. But I will say that a lot of this stuff probably didn't happen until I started having a family.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, when you don't have a family, I'm not going to say better things to do. It's just that there's only so much family time that you can have.
That's it.
I know for me, I got 3 young children and we can play in the yard for an hour or maybe longer, whatever. But you get to a certain time where it's like, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I can go and do my business stuff now.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time doing that. We know that work-life, family-life balance is very important as well for a healthy business.
That's exactly right. Well, what are we working for? Like, I'm working to give my family a better future than they would have had if I wasn't working, so...
I'm working to wear Fly As t-shirts.
Yeah, check it out.
Okay.
Your pink hat.
Yeah, representing Walker today. Just want to apologise to our Walker fans. Mark Ladaway. He's a Walker guy, eh?
He is.
Yep.
Gary Ashton's a
and
Walker guy.
I busted that out for you. The Walker sign, unplugged the Skag sign to bung that one in. Yes, okay. Gary Ashton, our podcast brother, is a Walker guy as well.
I tried to get on. He did a live question thingamajiggy on LMCA. I tried to get on. You were at Stratty, so
I was surfing, eh?
Yeah, well, fucking whatever. But I kept on. I'd go on and I'd listen to a bit, and he's like, "Oh, you want to get on?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right." So I jump off and then fucking look at my phone. He's like, "Oh yeah, do you want to get on?" I'm like, "Oh, I think I've missed the boat on this one." It's like 45 minutes ago. I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, Gary, I missed it."
Well, speaking of Gary Ashton and the Aussie Lawn Stars podcast, he's had a very interesting episode drop this week.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to it, go back and hit that. It's robotic mowers.
Yeah, it was Husqvarna.
From Husqvarna. Could be the way of the future.
They took our jobs.
Well, maybe, but hey. This industry is all about solo operators. Now we have had, speaking about topics and things like that, I did get an interesting comment from Jared Summer about hiring employees. Now we do have an episode on staff.
Yeah.
What Jared wanted us to touch on a little bit more was the actual costings.
Yeah.
Of employees. Now, we might touch on this. You can let us know in the comments section, or you can reach out to us directly if you want to know a little bit more about that. Do you have anything else for today's ep, man? Man,
I would just encourage everyone to go to Skag merch store.
Yes, no, do it.
Hit it up, man. Get these. They're awesome. You can also get the coolers, hats, shirts, whatever you need.
Now, get amongst it because some of this shit has sold out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's the lights that were on there, the LED lights that we've got in the background here, that's sold out like straight away. There's some cool shit, so they'll be on back orders. A few guys that were like, "Oh, I tried to get a light, but yeah, it wasn't quick enough." But yeah, as it gets into the cooler months, I know there's some cool shit in the works. But yeah, I can't wait.
And when you finish going to the Skag merch store, you can head to catch-pro.com.au. You can pick up anything you fucking want.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are out of Catch Pro units until about the 14th of January. I have had some people message in and say, hey, Benny, can you put a unit aside? My answer to that is I can't. Now, the only way I can put a unit aside is if you place an order on the website.
Okay.
I can't physically put anything aside until there is a sale, because people are just buying at the moment in such a volumes that if someone has an order that they've paid for, it needs to be shipped to them.
That's it, yeah.
But, hey, blades, bipper cord, bipper heads, boots, we got a ton of shit on there. Pro shields, they are hot at the moment. So a lot of the Pro Shield content starting to drop now.
Yeah.
Which is really good. We still don't have a website listing. This is probably going to come out the 2nd of January. I can't imagine we're going to have a website listing by then. Hopefully within that first week of the year. When do the kids go back to school? Is it it's late January?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
If they go back to school.
No, they are, man, eh? They are.
Anna said.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for listening in. Now, just want to say again, Merry Christmas to everyone.
And have a very safe and happy New Year's.
Absolutely. And everyone, I'm assuming, if you're listening to this, hopefully you're over your hangovers. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people going back on the 10th.
Yeah.
When are you going back?
It's Tuesday the 4th.
3rd
or 4th?
Probably.
Tuesday I'm going back.
So you're going back on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had a...
10 days. This is the first break in 2 years. It's so good.
We are supposed to be putting a bow on this, but let's just keep rolling.
Oh, it's so good.
Has it felt like... So what day would you be in now?
This is day 6.
Day 6?
Yeah. So I started getting the guilts at day 4. I got those I'm not at work and my account's not growing guilts. But I got over that pretty quick. I'm having such a good time at home with the family, so that's what we work for. Getting to see my little fella every morning is good. Getting to hang out with him when he's having breakfast. Get to see the girls doing their thing in the morning, because I'm normally long gone before anyone wakes up. So, I'm having a really good time. Get to hang out with the missus. And I hope I'm not annoying her too much, because we don't get to see each other during the day that much. I hope I'm not becoming a pest.
You just walk past her and slap her on the butt and be like,
all the time.
Yeah, I love you.
Yeah. And she punches me.
We'd love to hear about your holidays.
Yeah, please.
Don't forget, you can hit the Lawn Care Skull Sessions page on Instagram.
Yo.
You can also hit TBL Property Maintenance. I've been loving everyone reaching out. If someone wants a product that they're inquiring about, they're like, hey, also love the Skull Sessions.
Yeah.
That's been awesome to hear. It gets my attention.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the audience that listens is a little bit more special to me than your everyday customer.
Yeah,
so
I didn't realise how much I would love the interaction from this podcast. It's good.
And I got an email today from the podcast platform. I think we just hit 4,500 downloads.
So that means we've probably done close to 8, nearly 9 because of the stuff on YouTube?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to... Look, as long as we get the interaction...
Yeah.
As long as we get... If we didn't get any comments or interaction, it would be a lot more... It's a lot more satisfying when people are interacting.
Yeah. I love a Tuesday, like a Monday afternoon and a Tuesday, because I always get 5 or 6 private messages at least each day saying, oh man, I listened to the podcast, it's awesome, keep it up. So really drives us to keep it up.
And it's great when women get involved, because my wife takes more notice of me.
Yeah, it's my wife actually had a dream that I was doing the dirty on her last night, so I was kind of half in the bad books today.
With a woman or a man?
No, with a woman.
Okay.
Yeah. But hopefully she's over that by the time I get back.
Now, this is a huge sidebar section, but we're just going to roll with it. Didn't someone offer to actually do this calendar?
Oh my God. So yes, someone has told me that they're a professional photographer. And we mentioned in the last episode about a very handsome bearded man doing a calendar. Now, I'm going to reach out to Skag Australia, because I think they can get involved too. I'm going to see if
maybe we should do some sort of charity thing.
Do you want to?
Or not.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I figured if we can do a calendar and maybe support a charity.
What about
you and me are supposed to be trying to grow our financial, portfolios, right? Now we don't have any sponsored content.
No,
we don't get paid anything.
Hey,
for
what's
this.
going on? Why don't we have any sponsored content?
Probably because we plug everything for free.
Yeah, it's probably.
Maybe some charity stuff.
What about? So my daughter Ella has a disability and she has a rare genetic condition called 1p36 deletion syndrome. It's not a hugely known syndrome, but it's always been masked as people thought that there's a lot of kids out there with cerebral palsy that have actually come through and they've done genetic testing and found out that these kids have these genetic deletions. So maybe the 1p36 deletion foundation.
And it's very important that these children or adults get the things that they need, like walking frames, sitting frames. You've been through it all. Special chairs for vehicles.
Yeah, dude. It comes up in
learning programs, everything.
Everything that we've done. So we only recently just had the NDIS come through in Queensland. So it has been a godsend to us. Previously, so back a couple of years ago, we actually had to do a fundraiser to get my daughter a standing frame. Now, we had the most amazing turnout. We raised nearly $10,000 doing a sausage sizzle and a raffle. We had donations from people who work for toy companies, everything, and it was amazing. So we don't have to do that anymore. NDIS has really looked after us, so maybe we can give back that way. I will do...
Yeah, I mean,
sexy calendar. I will do a very sexy calendar.
So if anyone wants to buy 12 naked photos of BJ...
Not naked. I might be in a G-string or something.
Yeah, not naked.
I'm going to have to get a pump from somewhere because I'm not packing heat.
Just pack it with socks. I stopped packing. I'm not gonna go. But anyway, look, that could be something that will snowball. We'll let some of the audience let that brew out there, and we'll see if maybe we can get a calendar going.
Hashtag bearded calendar or something.
Something like that. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks,
We're going to wrap this up now. But next time we come back, we'll be on the tools again.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Peace out.